Morning, guys. Welcome to the channel again. My name is Casper, and today we're going to look at shipping. We do this every week, and actually, there are some bullish signs to some of the charts, which is quite appealing, to be honest. Yeah, follow me, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. Leave me a comment below, and yeah, let's just get straight into business, into the good old business. All the way up here, we have the Baltic Dry Index, the BDRY. Let me go to the daily and show you. Look at this one here. I'm going to make it like that instead. Look at this one here. We have actually taken out the long-term downtrend channel here, broken out, and also negated this bear flag right there. And now we have the neckline, the blue neckline as last resistance. And when we get above that, if we get above that one, we have a new uptrend in the Baltic Dry Index. And in my view, we could visit that upper golden trend line right up there. So beautifully, we need to get above 1450 in that range. But yeah, amazing negation of a bear flag, and above the 30 weekly breaking out. Last resistance is that neckline at roughly 1430, 1450. Stunningly. Let's look into the Baltic Dry Index sector. This is BDRY, the dry bulk shipping ETF. I'm just going to delete something I didn't delete. There it is. Here, like early summer, we had that squeeze here, a bit of a pop here, and now we have finally broken this shorter term trend line here. Again, overall, doesn't look quite good. There's a lot of resistance, on top, but still, this is some early signs, and I really want to get back above, especially this pivot here at 6.8. Then we could be in for something more bullish. But now it's trying to break some of the early resistances. And yeah, still, you can see the downtrend here. In my view, this is the count to look for, the 1 to 5 elite wave count. And then we have the big one. Let me actually add that one in right for you guys right there. That is the biggie. So then we have a target to look for. So if you can get back above there, beautifully. CTRM cannot catch a breath, even though shipping did quite well last week and the past 2 weeks has done fairly fine. CTRM just can't seem to catch a breath, and it really needs to pop here. We cannot lose this green zone at all. This is NM for Navios Maritime, and all of a sudden we have a breakout of this long-term, longer-ish term, 2-year-long trend line right there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's zoom in. That's the initial breakout volume is coming in last week on this major candle right there. And the horizontal support trend line to get back above is the 2.1. 2.1. It is right here in my view. There it is. There it is. So if we can get back above here, golden trend line taking out 30 weekly, we are above, and we have taken out these massive resistance zone here all the way across right there. Then it looks insanely bullish on this NM Navios Maritime stock. Beautiful, beautiful. Also, what do we have here? We have SBLK, Star Bulk carriers, still that over all major head and shoulders are still very much in play. And we have a target down here if it breaks. And yeah, it is that simple. Below the blue neckline, bearish, getting above that golden, we could start to negate this whole setup right there. But as you can see, since May, nothing has happened really. We are in that sideways price action, doing absolutely nothing. It's in 14% dividend stock, so a break above here could actually be a quite decent entry to a well-paid dividend stock actually. This is GLBS, excuse me, weird chart, very long downtrend. This is the smaller triangle that we are breaking out of from here. Also, the volume is catching up a bit, like 2x compared to the average. And we have the big long-term bad boy right here. You can see it's very long. It's 6 years long. There it is all the way down. And that's the final barrier to breach. But this is good. This is an early start. And And yeah, let's see what happens. Again, it's a smaller one, only $20 million company, so they can be very erratic when it finally goes. SB, safe bulkers. Again, quite similarly, we have an overall head and shoulders formation, false breakdown here, retest, retest, all the way back above into this high here, the lows. You can see the connections. And ever since we are in this blue falling wedge right here. A resumption up here, insanely bullish. And if we dip back below the neckline again, insanely bearish. And as long as we are here, you do nothing. Confirmation, that's quite easy way to look at it. You don't do anything until you get that confirmation to the upside or to the downside. But given we have had this false breakdown here, all the way up, and then now we're flagging into that neckline as support now, I think I have a bias to the upside, even though we have the 30 weekly coming down here. I have a bias that this is more bullish than bearish, to be honest. The Nord, quite same thing again. Overall picture is that head and shoulders formation. We have a high here, so we have this zone between 232 and 290. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see if this is that head and shoulders formation in the making. Again, there are tons of support, as you can see here. This zone here, we have the neckline, we have the uptrend, golden uptrend, we have that level that I just mentioned before. So we have tons of support, and yeah, we could easily go down and then we just break that trend line that's coming down right there. So again, let's follow. Again, to me, this is not a buy, not yet at least. Do they pay a good dividend? Yes, 15%, so it's not all too bad. This was the major one. That was the big long-term macro, 15-year long wedge broken. And now we're trying to top out. You know, this move here, we're trying to, it looks like we're topping out here and we need a breather before anything further goes. This is EGLE, EGLE bulk shipping. Again, with the same structure, that overall head and shoulders formation, the topping formation. And again, this looks a lot more bearish than the others. You can see the neckline. There it is. First false breakdown, and now we have a second breakdown of that neckline. Again, if you take out this low here, I would say at roughly 39.2 in that range. You can see here, let's zoom in. Right here, if we start to break down here, then we are in for a big scoop all the way down to 27. The 30 weekly is having downward pressure. I'm very bearish on this stock at the moment. It needs a lot to undo this. We need to basically whipsaw all the way up there before we can negate all this pressure. So this low here at should not be taken out. Otherwise, we have more downward pressure, in my view. ESEA. Let me just get rid of all this good stuff here. Don't know why that is. Let's look at the past 3 years. There it is. The low in March 2020. Big pole up here, bull flagging. Right there it is. And ever since we broke here, we came into resistance up here at this one here with a fake out to the top. But I will point out that the 30 weekly is coming up big time right now. Huge momentum. Also on the daily, look at this one here. We're flagging. Even though we have faked out here, we are still flagging. So a resumption up here above that longer term, that's your entry in my view. And the stop is quite easy to place. If you buy the break here, you place a stop below the 25. So that's a $1.5 risk, and the reward, as you can see here, should be way higher when you finally get to move here. There are some targets up here, for example, that you could take. Again, it's all depending on how you do things. Also, there's some measured moves and so on, but still, it also pays 8% dividend, so you can have a long-term hold with 8% per year. That's not too bad in my view. All right, GOGL. Quite similarly, again, you see the overall head and shoulders are still across the board for the dry bulks, and we are just ranging here below that blue neckline. And if you want to be bullish, that's the one to take out and get back above the blue neckline and the 30 weekly. So if we get into the $8.2, $8.35 range and stay there, like here, then that's actually quite very constructive, and you could find an entry there. GNK, excuse me. Again, the same thing. Overall, macro is the head and shoulders that we're looking at. Neckline looks like it wants to get breached here at some point in time. It needs to whipsaw quickly in order to negate that one. So yeah, nothing has happened for the past, ever since May. Again, we have this sideways price action, and we just can't seem to gain any bounce up from that neckline here. You can see the bounce here is a big bounce, smaller bounce, smaller bounce. That's not good. You want to have a big bounce here soon in order to escape that gravity. Same thing, GSX breaking down from that neckline here. Overall bearish. In my view, the path of least resistance is a kiss of that major long-term golden. Let me show you where it comes from. All the way up here, back to 2007, all the way down here. I think we will go to roughly 2.5. Again, that would be a great entry in my view. It also pays a decent dividend, 18% actually. So yeah, let's see if we go there. But it doesn't look that good. Boat, global shipping ETF. Still, we don't have much data. We only have like 1 year worth of data, so it's not much. We have this triangle here, the rising wedge right here, and we are below. Let's go to the daily to see that we're actually trying to do some sort of retest right here again. And we need to get back above this one here, the one of the bigger internal support and resistance trend lines we need to get back above in order to have some sort of bullishness. But I will not be positive until we can clear this one, the upper right here. When we can clear that one, then I'm saying, all right, I think the boat ETF has some room to run here. But there's just a lot of clusters here, a lot of shorter term bearishness, longer term bullishness, and so on. So it's just a mess right here. And to get a clear view, we want to get up here, and then we are more bullish. Again, we can also go all the way down here if this cluster of stuff just won't resolve to the upside. So it just doesn't give me any clear picture at all, this ETF right now. When we get up, if we get above here, I have a picture that we're going long. Down here, it's a buy. I'm trying to keep it that simple. I'm not trying to play any funny games here with all this mess that happens in the middle of this formation right there. TNK. Here it is. You can see that's the long-term breaks right there, and we are bull flagging. So whenever this resolves to the upside, you have a buy. You can also buy the pullbacks here into that long-term support at roughly 31 point. Yeah, let's call it 32. And then hope for a resolve to the upside. But this is a strong pull. Then you have a tiny flag here, and often that resolves to the upside when we get that flag broken to the upside. So that looks quite good. TRMD, excuse me, TORM. This was the initial beautiful purchase. I didn't do that, but that was it at roughly 75. And ever since I wouldn't call it, a typical head and shoulders because you have the neckline coming down with a quite steep angle. But again, I have it in here, so I still will notice it. But to me, this could be some sort of wedge resumption, but still the wedge looks kind of weird. So I'm not that confident in this wedge here. Again, if we get the third impulse low here and then a break, that's a beautiful entry. But again, overall, it looks a bit weird. But again, it is there. DHG still, you can see the long-term red. This should be green for support, but between 8 and 9 in that area we have a major support. And we are just currently bouncing up from that area again. Again, notice we have some sort of topping here. But again, since we are on top of this long-term zone here, I have a bullish take on this stock here. Again, that break on that trend line at some point in time is the buy to do, and you can place the stop below this low right here, and you have a great risk reward to the upside here. You can see here we have no volume here typically. After that breakdown right there, you have no volume on this collapse, so there should be a lot of room to run when we start to clear that all the way up here. So yeah, great risk reward if you want to trade it or invest into it. I don't know the dividends. You can check that yourself. STNK, Scorpion Tankers, bit of a messy one. Still, we have the overall inverted head and shoulders target up here at roughly 70. We haven't reached that yet. We almost made it here at 64. But we have just cleared a shorter term resistance line right here. You can see it. There it is at roughly 53. And we're above now. So this has a lot more bullishness to it compared to the negative. And yeah, you could argue that if you do like this, right, we can add this one out. There it is. You have a bigger bull flag. So we will just remove the smaller ones here because that has been resolved. And now we have a more bullish view to it. We have two lows now. Maybe we get a third, excuse me, I don't know. But for now, this take right here looks quite nice. And it will, in my view, tag at least this one here. And then we will see. NAT, weird looking chart, very weird. And we're still in this rising wedge and we are below here. So it should be bearish, but then again, it's holding up quite nicely here. But still, we are below this bearish wedge. And I do think we are going down before we eventually go up here. There's no denying that the big one is that one here, all the way down here. You can see the connections all the way up. There it is. That's the big level to breach at some point in time. But I don't think we will do it this time around. We need some sort of pause, and then we can have a go to regain more energy. FRO in a nice green uptrend right now. Actually, in two uptrends, we have this yellow here, which is a parallel, and then we have this steeper green one. And basically we are just bouncing back and forth in this one here. So as long as we are in this, it's all good. But as you can see, we're coming into an area where two channels are conflicting with each other. And usually these uptrend channels break to the downside. So we could see a move and then get all the way back down to here. We have support. You can see here that pivot high over there. And that would be a great entry, a low risk entry. In order to get more bullish, we need to for some reason to pop up from these two rising channels. TGH still, in order to have a buy here, we need to take out the all-time high at 42, and we just can't seem to do it right now. We are retracing into the 30 weekly, so it's still very bullish overall. Nothing to worry about for now. Again, if we start to lose momentum, a great opportunity could be to have a buy here at roughly 26, 27. As you can see here, it has been support resistance for a very long time. And then we might have the go here. But yeah, right here in no man's land, the way I do things, I'm not buying here at all. I'm waiting for a break here or a move all the way down here for maybe a double bottom. That's the way I do things. Okay. Sim here again. We talked about this last week. We are at the IPO levels, and typically you see a big bounce there. We are seeing some sort of bounce here, still early, but we are still seeing a tiny bounce. And if we can get that bounce and clear that one here, then we have some signs of life. And in order to clear the bottom or the basing here, we need to take out this $16 level at some point in time. And then we have a major upside from there. But still, the 30 weekly is coming down rapidly. So it's all do nothing right now for Sim. I don't see a buy here. You could have a buy with the stop below that IPO. But I'm just waiting to see if we can clear the 16. We're currently at 12. So yeah, it still has some work to do before we can. Last but not least, Toro here. We have zero data, more or less. So I've been trying to have this horizontal here at 4.5 and then the long-term golden uptrend, which was broken here like a week or two ago. Also, I'm noticing this one here, that squeeze right there, but to me it looks like it wants to go down here to these highs here to retest that one. We did have a smaller retest here, but I do think it's quite possible to get back to 4.5 for this stock before any further upside. So yeah, that is how I see that. Okay, so just quickly back to the BDI, the Baltic Dry Index. This one here could be the start of something good for the for the shipping companies within the Baltic Dry Index that has anything to do with the Baltic Dry Index, at least. We currently have 14, let's call it 1430, and clearing this blue neckline could send us to 6K, the best case scenario, a total revisit of this longer term uptrend here. We have a fake out here. So yeah, we could be in for a big move here if we can really regain that neckline, and the measured move I think also aligns quite perfectly with that upper trend line. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's totally fine. The measured move is here, and then with some overperformance makes total sense. Let's leave it in. The BDI with some hope right here. Let's see next week. I think we will have the clearance this week, maybe next week. It will take it out. Let's see. I hope you enjoyed it. The shipping one. I know not many people are interested into it, but I like to do it because it's also gives us an overall idea of how the economy is doing. So yeah, if you like the shipping, please give it a thumbs up, so at least I know that there are people out there. I'm not just speaking to myself. Anyways, have a great day, guys, and we will see you in the next one. Cheers.